Nice. Not too shabby. Hi guys, I wanted to try and capture a unusual phenomena that's been elusive so far, the idea behind push and or pull cut. So today I'm only going to be looking at push cutting, and it's something that we can measure along with thrusting ability or just standard hacking or cutting with swords. It's an attack that's used in a variety of different types of fencing and different um, fields of swordsmanship across the globe and across the centuries. Different types of swords will have easier or more difficult times doing it. And again, the idea is here, rather than swiping your sword across the target, you are driving your sword towards the target and using the edge to run alongside it, just as if you were trying to cut a long sheet of paper with a razor blade, for example. Now, the geometry of the sword is going to make a very big difference as to how well this is going to perform. And of course, you're going to want a very keen edge in order to be able to pull this off. To that end, I'd like to compare three types of sword. These are all different types of saber. So we have from LK Chen, the Mongol Sabre, the Yuan dynasty Dao from Kublai Khan's dynasty, which is a very long but gradually curved blade. Then from Peserey Handicrafts, I have an Ottoman Kilij, which has been featured several times, that shows a more acutely curved blade. It starts off straight, then it curves, then it straightens out again, as is typical for Turkish swords. And again, we'll just take a quick look to remind everyone that we have a flared yeoman here at the end. And then, a recent addition, we have this, also from LK Chen. This is a Persian-style Shamshir. And the Shamshir has a very acutely curved blade, at least in this case. And this is typical of Iranian style blades of this time period. This is probably from the 17th century, approximately, this style of blade. Now, the more aggressively curved I suspect, the easier it's going to be to perform these type of push cuts, running it along the edge. I was able to see some of this phenomena when I was doing thrusting cuts against pumpkins, and occasionally I'd miss the target, and then I'd run the edge of the blade along the pumpkin, and different swords performed differently, and some of them left very nasty wounds along the top of my pumpkin. Now, I don't have pumpkins today, but I do have some cardboard, and I had some long cardboard tubes. Unfortunately, it's been raining, and so the cardboard has been soaked and then dried. So the consistency of the cardboard is not typical. It's going to be a little softer, so don't look at this and say, oh, this is how well these swords will perform against cardboard. This actually may be better because because the paper is going to be a little softer. It may help us capture this phenomenon. I have no idea how it's going to work. As usual, this will be an experiment, and everyone over there will be along for the ride to see if we'll sink or swim. But I'm hoping that the softer medium will allow us to better see how this performs, and if while we're it's a little stuck. If while I am trying to perform a thrust, rather than putting the tip of the sword into the middle of the target, we instead draw the edge all the way along the surface of, let's say, a corner of one of the cardboard boxes, and just the action of moving forward instead allows the edge to dig a long cut into the side of the box. Again, this is something that is seen as an attack that can be done from a standing position by infantry, just approaching the target, or it can be seen in horsemanship when you're riding towards a target and are able to lay your blade out in front of you and use the momentum of your horse to conduct the push attack. Again, this can also be done using a reverse, so you can also draw the sword back and have the same effect. I'm not going to be testing that today just because it's too complicated, so we'll save that for a different day. But let's get to it. Let's see if any of these swords can execute a push-style attack, and if so, which one do you think is going to be the best? Well, first up, the Mongol Sabre. Very sharp sword from LK Chen. Okay, it twisted a little bit. You see we were able to get maybe 1.5 centimeters out of that corner. Try another strike. A little less, only about 0.5 centimeter. I'll try using an outer grip, or an inner grip rather. That one went a little bit easier. My target didn't twist on me, so maybe 2 centimeters that time. And even easier that time. So we did a really wicked cut that time with maybe 3 centimeters on each side from the Yuan dao. Next up, the Kilij from Peserey Handicrafts. Perhaps not as sharp as LK Chen, but, hang on, but still easily paper cutting sharp. Still a very sharp blade. Okay, cut about as deep as the deeper of the two Mongol sabers on that side. And the box twisted, but it made a very long cut on the front face and a very short cut on the other face. So here it's going on maybe 4 centimeters and only 1 centimeter on that side. Let's see how we do on the softer side. This part seems to be a little softer, a little wetter. I'm going to go lower than these two cuts from my Mongol Sabre. Okay, made a nice, on the front face, 2 centimeters, on the side, maybe 4 centimeters. Okay, that easily went through. So with this blade, it went in kind of shallowly on the front, and it just came out the back very easily. Some of that may be due to the curvature of the cardboard here. On the whole, it's cutting in a bit deeper and easier than the Yuan dao, I'd say. Although it's close. It's hard to say. I think that it's easier. It's not twisting the cardboard as much, but it's definitely cutting through pretty easily on these corners. And again, just remember, I'm not trying to just stab straight through the box. I'm intentionally doing push cuts. Lastly, the Shamshir from LK Chen. This is a very, very sharp sword. Let's see. Yeah. This is wickedly sharp. So it's the first time taking it out. We will see how it performs. First on the outer side. So, as you can just tell from my blade being stuck in there, we went very deep, much deeper than the other two. And it makes sense because if I'm keeping my point in line with the box, look at how far the belly of the blade is. I am drawing it all the way across. This is acting like a cam, just allowing it to cut all the way through. The curvature is reasonably even. So compared to the Kilij, which was straight and then curved and then straight again, this is just constantly, there's no area for the target to find straight purchase, and it's just almost like a moon-shaped blade. Try again. I'll do it lower. So this was the high cut. Now it's the low cut. And even worse. I'm getting the blade stuck in there. It's becoming so wicked. Now, yeah, I did make it through that time. So, you know, we're getting 6 or 7 centimeters on that side. And just to drive the point home, we'll try it on this side to see if we get the same results. Yeah. Okay, so this is hands down a contest that the Shamshir is winning. So even though the Kilij was quite curved, and perhaps the keenness of the edge is contributing to the lack of performance to a slight degree, this type of blade easily excels and beats out the other curved edges when it comes to doing this type of attack. So a push cut, again, is something that can be done with any type of blade. It can even be done with a perfectly straight edge. Remember that this I first noticed when we were doing pumpkin testing using the Albion Sovereign. So that blade has a very gradual curve over the Type 14 arming swords type blade. It's a double-edged blade. It's not a single-edged blade. But when I was trying to put the point into the pumpkin, I was missing the target very slightly, and so the top of the blade would skim across the top of the pumpkin and leave long gouging cuts along the pumpkin. It's easier to do with a curve than it is with a straight. You still can do it with a perfectly straight blade, but as is evident by the Shamshir, this is what this type of blade excels at. So if you're galloping along on a horse and you come up against someone who is either coming towards you or is at a perfectly steady speed, you just point your sword tip, not straight at them, but just off to the side, and the momentum takes them all the way along that wickedly sharp edge, and physics takes over, and the sword does the rest. So this is a really interesting test. Hopefully we can find an even better way to represent it. This is just a really quick ad hoc way of trying to demonstrate this principle, and I think it kind of demonstrates the magnitude of difference, at least between the two. Maybe we'll come up with some more different testing mediums in the future. Until next time, guys, take care. All right. Not too shabby. On the other side? Not too shabby at all. What about a nice gentle cut? Yeah. The gentle, but just scored the front. Deep cut, but didn't go all the way through. Nice. Not too shabby. That tip with the Yeoman really does a number. See. Pretty clean cuts. Surprisingly clean cuts. Not too shabby. Not too shabby.